You found self-improvement and you got on such a good roll, became way more productive and forgot that old version of yourself. But you may have lost your ways and your old version tries to creep itself back in and you slip up. Maybe you waste time for days and you go back to watching movies and TV shows, wasting your time rather than being productive and actually doing what matters. So this is a guide on how to recommit back to self-improvement. So like I said, you may be tired of what you're doing and your old child brain from back in the day, back in when things were worse, that child brain can click back on and it could be saying, hey, the new season is out. Why don't you get cozy and watch a nice movie about something that you're completely disinterested in, but still watch it because it's a movie and that's what people do to relax. You gotta relax. You have to remember that that's what the old you wanted. That's the child brain of you that wants easy. And you have to discern what you want versus what socially has conditioned you to want. Socially, you've been conditioned to want to go party. You've been conditioned to want to go watch that new movie, watch that TV show, to kick back and relax, even though that's not who you signed yourself up to be when committing to self-improvement. I'm not saying you have to completely abstain from those entirely. Of course, when all your duties are met, when you've satisfied your dopamine the right way by doing productive things, then maybe, yeah, sure, it's fine to see if you actually were interested in watching this one episode of this TV show that is actually useful and very interesting for you. You shouldn't get lost, because some people feel like they've earned instant gratification for a whole day or for a whole week, but you shouldn't let yourself spiral down that path. It just leads you to go back to where you didn't want to be to begin with. So what I ask you to do is ponder over the milestones that you could potentially reach and reflect over the leaps and bounds that you could have made, or you probably did make, when committing to self-improvement, and ask yourself, what is more satisfying to me? Is it more satisfying to be stuck in the past, or is it more satisfying to let go of bitterness, let go of resentment, embrace your purpose and be driven? I find that super exciting. So if you have seen the better side of hard times before, take pride in that and try to reinvigorate that fire. So practically what you'll need to do to reestablish momentum is to be reflective and take yourself into the present. This is why I recommend everyone get into journaling, because it honestly helps better than most things. It helps me center my thoughts rather than get lost, because I used to be a crippling overthinker and procrastinator, critical thinker too. I'd critically think over everything I did. I used to think over every piece of dialogue that I'd have with people, every single one, and I'd just completely run that over again and again and again back in my head, and it would really stagnate me. I'd be frozen and I wouldn't know what to do. So it's better to write those things down and write down what you're feeling. What is your constraints? What is restraining you from committing to self-improvement? So you need to establish and orient yourself. Find out where you are now, and if you're held back from self-improvement and you're letting life just pass you by, find out what you would be if you just stayed like that for the rest of your life. What you would turn out to be. Bitter, resentful, not really amount to anything. Just be another one of those consumers, another one of those backseaters, and one of those people who never really made anything to call their own and just existed rather than actually lived. Versus being someone who lived life, produced things, started things, took initiative, wasn't always taking the back seat. Sometimes you drove who you wanted to be. You made the decisions. You're not stuck in bad situations because of anyone else. It's because of you. And you take that responsibility and you have the adventure of your life. And that is by being consistent and doing what you should do every single day. And reorienting yourself has to do with habits, because some bad habits creep their way back into your life and you don't want anything to do with them, but they feel good and it's instant gratification. So a good way to set yourself up for success with habits is to take some advice from James Clear's book, a very famous book. It's called Atomic Habits. So let's say if you used to go to the gym 5 days a week and you saw some progress, you were consistent, but then you fell off. Just started slacking. I've had mates in school who missed 2-3 weeks of the gym. They put themselves in a great position to start with, but then they just let go of it and they lost that momentum. What James Clear states to do in his book is to form an identity with that habit. So if you're a gym goer, rather than saying, I'm trying to go to the gym, I'm trying to be an athlete, I'm trying to do fitness, instead say, I'm a fitness person. I'm an athlete. I'm a weightlifter. I'm a power lifter. Once you say that, although you may look in the mirror and not believe that wholeheartedly, it's essentially faking it until you make it, and that works. No wonder people use like affirmations and stuff all the time. It's basically the same thing, but you don't have to say it in front of a mirror to yourself, but it's what you repeat to yourself in your head when you're about to go to the gym, but you doubt that you feel like going to the gym. You say, I'm an athlete. This is what athletes do. They don't skip the gym. They go anyways, even if they don't feel like it. Your habits change your identity, but stating your new identity can also change your habits. I repeat that. Your habits can change your identity, but your identity can also change your habits. The second thing that James Clear iterates in his book is to create environments for certain tasks. Now, I may go further into this in another video, but it's basically to associate places with productivity and associating places with rest. So your bed probably wouldn't be the best place to do some actual work at, some actual study or work. You might want to do that at your desk. So you associate your desk with productivity. So you don't play video games at your desk, you do work. Same thing with place to eat, place to chill, place to read, stuff like that. And if you don't find that effective, then you can also change things up. Go to a park, go to a library, work in different places, find places to be more productive, spice things up a little bit. So I hope those two things help. Basically, the reason why I made this video is because self-improvement is to delay gratification. That is pretty much the cornerstone of what self-improvement is. And I have been slacking on that recently. I have watched old cartoons that my child brain wanted to reminisce on. I guess a way to really frame it though is that stuff that you used to do, that's kid stuff. You're an adult now, or you may not be an adult, but you're more mature now. That's not what a mature person like you would do. So when implementing habits to make improvements over time, it's mostly about consistency rather than quality. As long as you show up day after day, that is more important than knocking out like a really good gym sesh one day and then skipping it for the next week. You have to show up repeated. Like you can get the urge to be motivated and meditate for 20 minutes one day, but then skip the next 3 days. And that doesn't really do much for your well-being in the grand scheme of things. So it's better just to do 3 minutes every single day, or 3 mindful breaths every single day. It can really be small, but as long as easy and attractive to start with, and you don't have to get ahead of yourself and make improvements every single day, as long as you do the bare minimum to start with consistently, and you prove that you can do that, then maybe you can improve and increase the time you meditate for in the morning or at night. Just as a quick example, tackle the lowest hanging fruit. It is only over time that with daily hard work, gratitude, mindfulness, and exercise that one can actually say that they're on self-improvement. And at that point, nothing needs to be said because the proof is in the pudding, and you will be glad that you made that choice, as will I. So leave no more lost potential. I'm Nick Steep. Like, subscribe if you like the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.